Hey, thanks for watching. This is the next video to my combat tutorial, and in this one we are taking on the giant scarab for the contact quest, which requires quite a bit. It requires at least Guthix Rest or Ceradomin Brews. It requires recoils from Magpie, so 65 Hunter, as well as it requires the quest Iclara's Little Helper, which also has combat requirements, including Poison Dynamite. So there's quite a bit to get to this point. The reward for it is the ability to bank in the area where you do Pyramid Plunder, as well as the Carol's Dagger, which you can't really equip, but is a cool collection item to have. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to show all of the lore to get the setup for the Giant Scarab because it's quite involved. I will link Keyboard's video, which was posted like 8 months ago, and that was incredibly helpful to me, as well as Twiddle level 3. Shout out to him and Sun for just talking through this. And actually, Twiddle did this on his regular iron while I was watching before I did it. So that was helpful for figuring out what plugins to install and the setup, etc. But essentially what I'm showing here is after I've got the lure, I spawned all 3 of the other enemies, and then I used Guthix Rest 2 sips basically for this. For the setup for the lure, you have to run out at a certain tick, and then essentially you have to get back to the same tile and stand there for 10 minutes while you have this giant scarab aggroed in the aggression area. But also you're removing the aggro so that way when they spawn, they don't clap you. And after that, you can tick eat with the potatoes because the max hit of Giant Scarab is 20. So you step out into the area where he can see you with line of sight, he sends his attack, and you tick eat with the potato. So it's a really easy flow. You want to make sure that you have, like, for example, the sack of potatoes in a position where you can just click it and it empties out 1 potato, so you're pretty much set, or empties out as many potatoes as you want, whatever option. But other than that, it's the visual metronome that's the most helpful for this, because when you're going through the maze, you don't need it. But when you enter down into this cave, that's exactly when you want to turn it on so that it's going for 30 seconds, because you can stand on certain tiles and just get poisoned and clapped that way if you're on the specific tick. So when you're running out for the lure, you essentially run out, you get to a certain point, this tile to the furthest of the left, and then you run back and tick eat with Guthix Rest. Now, you could use a potato if you're lower than 10 HP, but again, I would just recommend being 10 HP and using a sip of Guthix Rest, and then using Guthix Rest again for the first encounter to get yourself below 10 HP. And so whenever he hits you, you'll utilize potatoes, and it's pretty straightforward from there. I actually was in the Discord with all of the Transcend members that hang out in basically Discord and voice quite a bit, and I wasn't even on mute. So I did accidentally chance there with a misclick when I scrolled out. So after that, I wasn't even interested in checking the hit points. I just thought I should just do this till it's dead, because that was a little scary when I have a click associated with my middle mouse wheel, and that's also what I was using to scroll in and out. So take your time. You can also drop your potato sacks either 1 tile over, which is something that I did because I wanted to have more space for more potatoes so that I'd always have something. You can definitely accidentally chance if you don't have the right flow, because, for example, in the beginning, I almost risked it because I didn't have a potato out, and I clicked out back in, had to empty the potato to eat it, and that's not something you want to do. Otherwise, this was a quest that I was very intimidated by. I couldn't have done it without the help of clearly Keyboard's video, Twiddle, and Sun also, but mainly Twiddle, because he was the one doing it, and it was a really exciting thing to accomplish. I am speeding up the combat encounter here because I want you to see how simple it is once you get to the point where you're just tick eating. There's a lot of stress in the beginning because as a UIM, when you die, everything does get put outside at the entrance, but you still have to go through the maze and survive the maze with alts to get back to your stuff. So for some reason, I died, I think, twice on this. One was just getting to the maze, through the maze, and then the second time was actually in the lure. And I would have survived that, actually, had I sipped a Guthix Rest instead of a potato, which you can see in vid 3, progress video 3, I accidentally ate a potato, and so there's no way I could have survived that. I just ate the wrong thing on the lure because I wasn't focusing. So overall, it's a little bit intense, but after that, it's a really cool quest to have complete, and I never thought that I would ever complete this quest because it was the most intimidating to me, and I had really no idea how I would pull it off until I got to it and started thinking about the mechanics and watching the video, and then watching Twitter was encouraging. So that being said, the rewards for it again aren't really that great. I mean, if you have a bank, it's probably better because you can do pyramid plunder and then use the bank there instead of having to like leave and come back. But if you had a scepter, that wouldn't even be a big deal anyways, especially at higher thieving levels. And if you're hardcore, you're probably not gonna do pyramid plunder anyways, so you might as well just enjoy having the quest complete and then never return here again. But other than that, there's nothing much to say. I will say that I am getting close to finishing all of my combat video tutorials. I only have one left, which is the Headless Beast for the Getting Ahead quest, in which I maxed quest points for all combat encounters. But I do recognize that some of the videos might be outdated at this point, or there's slightly better methods than there were before. For example, Lost City, there's way better methods to do now than there was back then. So I will come up with a video in order to help, and that'll just reflect on all 40 videos. I mean, I think out of the 40 videos, it's like 37 or 38 that are actual combat tutorials. So I'll go back and revisit those and see which ones are needing an update, and then make a video that just discusses all the changelog of all those videos. Because unfortunately, when you're making videos, that's the negative that you can experience is, yeah, all the videos, they can get outdated pretty quickly. But I am happy that I've actually created a video for pretty much every combat encounter, at least when it comes to quest and the diaries, so that you can get 0 combat XP and complete everything like I have. Who knows if I'll ever get Slayer and get 2 more quest points and fully max, but in the next video I will take on the Headless Beast, and that'll be the last combat encounter and quest for max quest points on a UIM level 3 or Iron level 3, as well as, yeah, I might do some videos for Prayer Pures because I can do some of that stuff, but that would just be the common encounter, not turning it in case I ever decided to. So that's Contact, one of the best quests ever. You can see I'm 1 quest from maxing quest points, and hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.